everybody, it's Rich and Laurel, the Vintage Hikers.
Hey guys.
We're under 300 days before we start our through hike, March 1st, 2020. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the things that we've learned in the last 2 years about training, prepping to avoid injury, and what we've done in the few times where it's actually been me, has actually had an injury on the trail and things we carried that made a big difference for us. The first thing we want to say is train your body. Especially if you're a more mature person like us, we would highly recommend going to your doctor, getting checked out completely, telling them that you have this goal of beginning hiking at all, and definitely if you're going to hike 2,200 miles on the AT.
If you've got any problems, like maybe with your teeth, your joints, your knees, your hips, your ankles, anything, talk to your doctor about that and make sure you get the problem areas checked out. You don't want to get on the trail and find out that little problem that you've had with just your normal day-to-day routine turns into a much bigger issue.
Right, and like he said, teeth. We've seen people that have been on the trail have to come off because of a problem with a tooth. And after you've gotten clearance from the doctor, then you're going to want to really start to work on building core strength is super important, hip flexibility and strength, and ankle flexibility and strength.
Squats are good too.
Yeah, for your knees. Knees are particularly susceptible to injury when you're going downhill.
Right.
But we try to hit the gym 3 or 4 times a week, hit the stair step or do anything we can to simulate what we're going to be experiencing on the trail. And then here at home, we have this thing, it's called a wobble board, got it off Amazon.
It's big fun.
Yeah, it's really good for balance, and there's something called proprioception. It's the way your feet feel the trail, and this helps you to develop that. Pick out the pack and the shoes that you are planning on taking on your through hike and start slowly.
Train with the pack and the shoes that you've decided upon, because you don't want to have to get out on the trail, find out after your shoes aren't working, they're giving you a lot of blisters, a lot of problems, your pack's not working, doesn't fit you good, this, that, or another thing. So train with what you think you're taking on the trail with the weight that you think you're going to end up having to carry. Start out lighter, of course, but do train a lot with your pack. You have to practice hiking, and you got to shake down your gear.
And then this next item is something that I laugh about because it's called learn to fall. And I always tease, in the few times that I fall great, but I still haven't really learned how to fall like he has.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just sort of has to be instinctive, and I don't know if she says learn how to fall. I've been really blessed. I tuck and roll and land pretty good, and she, God love her, doesn't.
I just sort of splay all over everywhere. But I mean, truly, there is a method to it. And he said to me, well, maybe it's because guys play sports. I mean, girls play sports too. But by the time I realize I'm falling, I still can't automatically tuck and roll. But you can see videos and stuff on that. And if you can incorporate that in your brain better than I can, you may avoid an injury if you just learn to fall properly. But to try to help avoid falling, for me personally, a big difference has been trekking poles.
Trekking poles are very helpful. They're helpful in a lot of different ways. They help you with your balance. They help protect your knees, especially going downhill. They help take a lot of the pressure off of your joints, lower body, and they help you with your balance. And they really help you to avoid injury.
I mean, I have a lot of respect. There are some amazing hikers. Evan never used trekking poles. Craig, that's out there doing a yo-yo right now, he got rid of his trekking poles. But for me personally, they've saved me from some serious spills. Now, the thing about those is they're only going to help you if you actually have them in your hands. Carrying them in one hand, having them in straps in your back, when you take a dive, they're not going to help you. So, if you're somebody who needs them, be sure to be utilizing them most of the time to avoid injury.
Another thing you got to really kind of be careful about is keeping an eye on your surroundings. SA, situational awareness, is really, really important.
Right, that takes us into number 2. After you've trained your body, train your brain. When we first started training to hike, we were out in South Cumberland and we were talking to a ranger, and he actually told us a true story of a woman who was reading a map and walked off a cliff.
Yeah, she died.
Yeah, she fell to her death. And it's really easy to get caught up in the moment. Just, stop and look at your map. If you want to take some photos, maybe just take a stop and take a look around before you get into something that may cause you injury.
It's really hard to not get caught up in the moment because there's so many beautiful things along the way, but try to keep your eye on where your feet are going, where they're landing, step after step, to help avoid injury.
Yeah, and that's what Rich just said. Look where you're walking. We're both runners. I've run a couple of half marathons, but those were on.
I'm not.
Yeah.
No, it's too far.
I'm half crazy. I'm not full crazy. But those are on roads. Those are on paved trails. That's an entirely different situation than hiking over rocks and roots and holes and ice. I spend a lot more time looking where my feet are going than I ever thought I would. But, in certain terrain, it's just critical for me to avoid injury.
Yeah, you really have to pay attention to your feet. You got to watch where they're landing. It's hard though.
Yeah, and then we get to the next thing that was something I learned the hard way. I have this tendency to, what Rich calls my horse to marn. Whenever we get close to camp or it gets late in the day, I get in a hurry. And we were coming into a campsite, and it was after one of the, I think Harvey and there was a big blowdown right over the entrance to the campsite. I had a bladder of water, I had my pack, there was a big old trunk. I'll stick a picture
I wasn't there, I was yakking to another hiker.
Yeah, he might have saved me from it, but I'll put a picture up. It was a pretty good sized trunk, and I kind of eyeballed it, and I was like, yeah, I can jump over that. Yeah, I jumped over it, and my left foot went in a hole, and I gloriously sprained my left ankle.
It's not the fall that gets you, it's the sudden stop at the end.
And it was bad. I mean, fortunately, one of the things that we carry that I advocate strongly is I had an ACE bandage. So once we got into camp, I got it elevated, I got the ACE bandage on it, I took ibuprofen, and I managed to hike 12 miles out. But I never should have done that. I'm just lucky that I didn't leap over and land on a rattlesnake. So the thing I should have done and what I do now, anytime I encounter anything that I can't see what's on the other side, sit down on the log, look over, throw one leg, throw the other leg. So, don't get in a hurry and don't blindly put your feet places that you can't see what you're landing in.
That's not going to end well.
No. And then the other thing that I learned, it was like twice we went out and I managed to mangle myself, but ever since then I've been really good. We were on flat land, we were moving out, and he was ahead of me, and I saw him stumble. He didn't fall, but he just stumbled. And I looked and I saw this rock, and I was like, oh, he tripped on that rock. I won't trip on that. And I kept moving in a very rapid speed and then tripped on what it was he actually stumbled over, which was a root, and smashed my knee on the rock.
Trekking poles were flying, water balls were flying. It was ugly. It was an ugly scene.
Yeah, I put a really big gash in my knee, and we were equidistant between ranger stations. So we both agreed that, we'd use what we had. We had a pretty big first aid kit back then, and we were using what we had to just stop the bleeding till we could get to camp and assess the situation. And when we got to the bottom, I found something that is the other thing that I would advocate everybody carry, which is little wound closures. I'll put a picture of them in case you don't know what I'm talking about, but they weigh virtually nothing. And I was able to pull that closed, put some gauze on it, put a Band-Aid on it, and I told him, I said, I don't want to go in.
You call those butterfly stitches?
Some people call them butterfly closures.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay out camping.
Since that though, she's done really well. We did a 100-mile section hike the AT, and she never fell once.
That's true.
I was a little worried there because those two instances happened pretty quick together. But I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's done really, really a lot better.
But that really did make a huge difference. And, I probably should have gotten stitches, but by the time we got out, it was too late. And I don't even have a scar. So it worked out.
It was a nasty cut. It really needed stitches. It scared me.
But again, the takeaway from that is if somebody in front of you trips, just stop for a second and really take a look around so that you don't make the wrong conclusion like I did. So once you've trained your body and you've trained your brain and you're out there hiking, there are just some things that we'd like to point out that we consider to be good, healthy hiking tips. Everybody wants to make miles. Everybody's always pushing. But you need to plan scheduled breaks.
Yeah. She doesn't like to stop. She doesn't like to rest. She likes to push. And boy, I like to take a nice 30-minute lunch and take a 10-minute power nap. And that makes her crazy when I try to take a nap.
But it's a good thing. I mean, you really should plan to stop for 15 minutes every so many hours or miles, whatever it takes. And in that break, get your shoes off, get your pack off.
Get your feet up.
Right. You can get away with, bad hiking habits if you're out for a weekend or even a week, but it's a long way to Katahdin.
Day after day, mile after mile, week after week, especially for us older folks. Got to take care of your body.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right.
And then the other thing, as far as healthy hiking tips, is having the right clothes and sunscreen and stuff to protect you from severe weather, cold weather, wet weather, hot weather. Practice
with your gear. Do hikes. Get out in the woods. Shake your gear down. Get out and practice with your gear. Test your gear. Test your gear. Test your gear.
Right, because hypothermia will take you off the trail.
Test your gear.
And then the other thing that's really big in all type of situations is hydration.
Yeah. It can be particularly bad in the shoulder season, spring and fall, when it's not real hot. Maybe you don't feel too thirsty. Make sure you drink regularly, stay well hydrated. Even if you come off the trail for a 0 day, you're used to drinking 3-4 liters of water a day, you get into town and maybe you don't have it. You need to do it on your 0 days. Because it's going to mess your body up if you don't get that. It's used to getting up that level of hydration. You need to continue that on 0 days.
In addition to taking in the water, you need to be taking in the fuel. Pay attention to your nutrition. Keep an eye on your macros. Make sure you're getting enough fat, that you're getting enough protein.
A lot of protein.
And this isn't really an injury thing, but it is something that's a sickness thing, and it will take you off the trail. Be really careful about your sanitation. There's been noro on the trail now. Be careful when you use the privies. Be careful if you're digging a cat hole.
Yeah.
Use your hand sanitizer all the time.
Right.
Wash your hands whenever you get the opportunity.
Just be aware of your surroundings when it comes to personal health, and try to stay out of situations where you may know that there's some people that are sick.
And then once your hike is done, at the end of the day, we have some routines that we go through. We call our post-hike care. First thing you want to do is get your shoes and socks off, especially if you've been hiking wet. Check for ticks.
Right. Ticks are evil bastards. Permethrin is your friend. Spray your stuff, your tent, your ground cloth, your clothes, not like underwear and socks and stuff like that are direct contact, but permethrin is really good stuff and it will keep the ticks away from you. I spray it on my hat. Helps keep the mosquitoes from buzzing around my face. My shirt's real loose. I spray it. My hiking shorts.
And then at the end of the day, despite all your best efforts, do a tick check. Especially if you have long hair like me, they like to get up underneath your hair. And when you're doing that end of hike self-care, roll out your tendons, stretch, check for blisters. If you got toenails that are getting long, that's time to clip them because they're going to cause you problems in your hiking shoes.
If you're hiking with a partner, which I'm fortunate to do because she likes to hike a lot, give your partner a good foot rub down, and if anybody's got, either one of you guys have got an owie, rub it out. And stretch in the mornings and the evenings. You have to get those joints limbered up and those muscles warmed up before you go. Don't take off cold in the morning without stretching and getting warmed up. You'll regret it, I promise.
And then really the last thing we want to talk about is when all else fails, for us personally, we carry an inReach. We've never had to use it for an emergency situation, but it gives us that peace of mind if something that we can't handle, which so far, knock on wood, has never happened, we can get professional help.
Plus our friends and family can, have some peace of mind and kind of track us and know where we're at along the way. That's really helpful for people that are home and care about you. Another thing about going back to the feet thing, if you even think you're getting a blister on your foot, you get a hot spot, stop right away and tend to it. Don't wait. You got to get right on that. Keep your toenails clipped, and you got to take care of those feet. They're the things that are carrying you every day.
They're going to get you to Katahdin or not. And that's pretty much all that we wanted to cover. I mean, train your body, train your brain, fuel the engine, take your rest, and
hydration.
Then, check yourself out at the end of the day, and hopefully that'll get us all to Katahdin, whether we're 20 or 80.
I think that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have any questions, please ask them down below. Comments, we love to hear from you.
Right, yeah.
But, hit the like button if you like it.
Yeah.
Subscribe if you haven't. Right. Yeah.
And thanks so much, guys. Less stuff, more fun.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Less than 300 days.